And we're live. Hi, everybody. I hope everybody's doing well today. I see a lot of you are already here, and I'm reading the geographical, location of everyone. It's really impressive every time to see how you're all from around the world. I have to start sooner than later today because I really want to be able to complete something that's going to, resemble a portrait. So, first, let me tell you something that I'm very excited about is that starting October 5th, which will be Monday, not this Monday, but next, we have a new class starting, which is Drawing Faces with France. We are continuing what we were doing in September, and we're doing it again in October. And I hope you guys can join again for one more month of drawing together, 3 drawings a week. The idea is basically to draw on Monday, on Wednesday, but if you can't draw on Monday, don't feel pressured. You can always catch up, later. Um, Monday, Wednesday, and then on Saturday we have this live session, and so basically times 4 because 4 weeks in a month, and so just like that you get like a 12 drawing habit, throughout the month, which these days I'll be honest with you, it has been really tricky to find the time to draw because I was just closing on a house last weekend, and I have a lot of work to do in that house because it's not really like a move-in ready kind of situation. Needs a lot of work. So yeah, it's been preoccupying me quite a bit. And yet, I was sitting at the closing with the attorney, and I was just doodling the bottle of hand sanitizer. Can't help it. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to show you quickly what this new October class is about, and then I'll be right back. Okay, here we go. Hmm, Let me see if I can find it. I think this is it. Up and draw. You may not like your first attempt, but if you keep showing up, you will start seeing growth. But most importantly, you will experience the joy of drawing on a regular basis and making the time to tap into your own creativity. Showing up can be the hard part, but this class makes it easy and fun. 3 times a week, we will get together and draw an inspiring face, from start to finish. I'm your guide, showing you techniques, tips, and tricks that I've learned from drawing thousands of faces. If you have any questions, you can reach me at Sketchy Art School or in my weekly live Q&A. Best of all, you get lifetime access to all class content, so you can go at your own pace and revisit as often as you'd like. So, are you ready? Let's draw together at Sketchy Art School. So I hope the video worked. Sometimes it's hard to tell on my end, but basically, yes, starting October 5th, which is a Monday, we are going to continue our drawing creative habit and post at Sketchy Art School. And if you haven't yet, you can always grab 2 of my classes these days with the code Faces with France, and you get 20% off 2 classes at Sketchy these days. So, yay! So, ladies and gentlemen, October is gonna be is gonna be busy, and starting today, we are now finishing the 3rd week of the September edition of Drawing Faces with France, and this week we're drawing in pencil, right? And we are drawing Melly Rose. Even though you've probably noticed that we're not dealing with a whole lot of contrast on this photo, so it's going to be interesting. Bear with me. We're going to go with a number 2 pencil. At least I am. I know some of you are already saying that you're going to draw in Procreate. But before I start my drawing with a number 2 pencil, I'm actually going to start. Let me unplug my iPad because I don't need to have it plugged. I have my iPad for my reference photo right next to my page. What I'm going to do is, before I go into my moleskin, Hi, everybody. I keep seeing people saying hi, and I hope you don't think I am ignoring anybody. This is just me trying to get through this 1 hour with somewhat of a result at the end. So I'm grabbing a piece of photocopy paper, just like that, the kind that you find in a photocopy machine. And this is going to be the paper on which I'm going to do a little blind contour. So I urge everybody today, even though some of you might be on Procreate, some of you might be using Paint, I'm not sure, but I'm definitely want to loosen up, loosen the wrist, loosen the brain, and sort of get rid of the pressure of having to draw a portrait. Everything suddenly is so formal and um, ceremonious almost. So, ladies and gentlemen, why don't you grab a scrap piece of paper? We're going to do Melly Rose in blind contour. And of course, blind contour is meant to be a little bit catastrophic. That's the point. It's because it's not about accuracy, it's about really looking at the subject and not looking at what you draw. So I'm even going to put my piece of paper like this, and this is going to serve sort of as a barrier between the two. I hope you guys can still see what I'm drawing. So it's time for me to switch cameras and have you see what I do. All right, so I'm drawing here. I'm not looking at it. I am only looking at Melly Rose. And by the way, just so you know, I'm standing today because, again, having everything flat on my desk here is not doing wonders for distortion. So I'm standing, having a better bird's eye view over what I'm doing, and I think we need to start. Okay, are you ready? All right, I'm gonna start with the eyes. I do not see at all what I'm doing, just so you know, and I'm inviting you to do the same. Okay? So much fun. And just so you know, I'm also using a different pencil than the one I will use for the actual portrait. This pencil here is 4B, and that's because I want it to show kind of dark on the on camera. I hope you can see. Am I obstructing anything? I hope not. I can't look at the camera right now because if I look at the camera, I see my screen, and my screen is showing what I draw. Can't do that. I hope everybody had a good week. I spent quite a bit of time painting and cleaning this week in this new house. All right. I have not done yet the outline of the face yet. Here we go. I'm going to put it here. There's the jaw, an ear. I hope you guys can see. I certainly am not looking, so whatever is happening now is hopefully for the best. But see, this is my way of getting acquainted with someone, with a drawing that I'm about to start. I did not even do the hair yet. Okay. Oh, wow. Oof. Okay. So here we go. Um, that would be Melly Rose, ladies and gentlemen. And I will always encourage you to start a drawing just like that. It's absolutely ridiculous, we all agree. But just by doing that, just a little bit of humor that you can actually add to a portrait, I'm definitely up for it. So I think we are going to now move on to the page. And guys, I'm sorry if I really cannot see your comments. If I start chatting and like going along with your comments, I'm never gonna finish. And that would be a shame because we kind of need to get something done today, don't we? Right? So, if you do, however, ask me anything, let's keep that for the end of the broadcast and I'll try to address anything I can. Okay? All right. Yeah, I don't know, D. Wade, about the quality of my hand eye coordination. Anyway, okay, we're gonna start, everybody. So, as you know, now I am standing up, kind of looking over my sketchbook, and I'm going to start loosely, as loosely as I possibly can, so that I'm making marks right away. And by the way, I've just grabbed my number two pencil. It's nothing fancy. This belongs to my daughter. I bought a box of, I don't know, 12 of these, and I sharpen it just so you know. I need to show you because it is not always obvious. I sharpen it with an old um, box cutter like this. This is super sharp. Um, so I just go like this over, my trash, and I just take out the wood so that the lead is exposed a little bit more. So this is not a sharp pencil at all. It's not sharp. And I don't mind because for me, sharpening my pencil is usually not a very helpful thing to do. It's funny. So for those of you who are tuning in, we are at the end of the third week of the September edition of Drawing Faces with France, and we are launching a new class, which is basically continuing what we were doing in September, continuing it into October, and continuing this drawing habit that we are forming together. This, by the way, what I've just drawn, I can already tell you, is not going to last. I think I'm going to have to change that a little bit. So yes, September goes into October, and we're going to go into the October edition of Drawing Faces with France. That's 3 drawings a week, including this live that we're doing. This kind of live, I mean, not this one in particular. You got the idea, right? I always try when I go on the Sketchy app to find a very diverse population for my muses, and it's not always easy. I don't know if you guys are encountering the same issue. I love drawing, as you know already, darker complexioned people, and it's not always easy to find on Sketchy, so let it be known that we need darker skin to vary our muses a little bit, definitely. That would be great. I'm also always kind of self-conscious about drawing men versus women because I've been known to prefer drawing men, so I'm trying to force myself to draw more women. Ay, ay, ay. Oh, I see a lot of you are here. This is amazing. Thank you. Great. I wish I could respond. I wish I could respond to also all my compatriotes de la France, là. Je vois Catherine Plantin de Haute-Loire. Chouette, chouette. Ok, et j'avais quelqu'un du Val d'Isère avant. Enfin bref, bref, as we say en français. I don't know about you, but I'm completely in love with the features on Melly Rose's face. Even though I made an attempt to do, the forehead before I did the eyes, obviously the eyes are now that they're set, they are going to determine what I'm doing next and how I'm doing it, because uh, what I thought was going to be the size of the head here, I think is going to have to be kind of rethought. Ah, it feels good to draw in pencil. I don't know about you guys, but it feels good for me. It's just a great moment in the week to be here with you. Know that you are drawing along. And maybe some of you, I believe I saw Stina was saying that she was not drawing along. And I hope that you're okay, Stina. So, as you know, my lack of academic training means that I'm just placing things where my eyes sees them. I don't have an excellent, uh, you know, like grid-like technique sort of thing. So it's kind of like, oh, okay, this eye here goes down this way, so this is where the nostril ends. Things like this. I just sort of draw imaginary lines in my brain. Ok. Lisanne du Québec. Ok, yay! J'adore. J'adore, j'adore. Lisanne Roy. Quel beau nom! Oh, c'est magnifique ça. Lisanne Roy. C'est marrant, Lisanne, parce que j'ai une cousine qui s'appelle Anne-Lise. Et elle habite dans le sud de la France. Anne-Lise Rocher. Elle habite à Béziers, je crois, ou Montpellier. Je sais plus. Ok. So again, my goal today is to cover ground, but also um, I'm making some goofy lines here. You're probably noticing, okay, what is she doing? These are lines right there in the cheek to, oh, I see people saying hi, Rick, which means Rick is in the house. It's awesome. Hi, Rick. So these lines that I'm making that may seem a little goofy, they are to remind me that this is where the light hits on the cheeks, and that helps me see that there's going to be, by drawing it like this, volume going this way and then that way underneath. I hope you guys are following what I'm trying to say. It's amazing how much doing these classes has taught me really to break down and think about my process, that I didn't even think existed before. And now I learned by teaching almost. I don't know if that makes any sense. I learned to really apply certain things that were not necessarily explicit in my mind, but having to explain them kind of forced me to understand them and be clear about them. Okay, let me see where I am in terms of proportions. I'm trying to stand way above my sketchbook here. Okay. Teaching is the best way to learn, right? Porcupine pancake, I love your question about size. For me, this particular size, the size of a moleskin, a large moleskin, like what I have right now in front of me, it's pretty ideal because you're absolutely right about starting something at a larger scale means that you will certainly not finish it, and you kind of want that sense of completion at some point, that you've done something. Um, for me, that's crucial. So yes, sometimes you just have to like draw smaller, and that's perfectly fine. All right. If I were to draw a line, kind of across almost the bottom of the nose, this is where I'm going to find the lobe of Melly Rose's ear. Don't you love how when we have Rick, it's like it's like we have like a rock star, He just walked in and we're like, "Ooh, he's here." I love that. Rick, I hope you're doing well. Okay, so just like that, I think I have at least the outline of the face, right? Et oui, enseigner est la meilleure façon d'apprendre et de comprendre. Yeah, ça c'est clair, absolument. Oh my gosh, Rick, you're going to be ordering costumes because you got to your goal. I love that. I am so happy about that. Oh, sweet. You're really taking this to the next level, Rick. I love it. Okay, this is still extremely preliminary, in terms of completion, what I've got going on here, but bear with me. We're gonna refine things, right, as we go. Good, I'm glad, Rick, that you're doing great. Yay. All right. Do I want to do this with my pencil yet? I'm not sure. Now I'm gonna keep this for a little later. Like when I take my pencil and I just use the side. Maybe I can do that for the hair a little bit. Um, but even then, it's not really what I want to do right now. I'm not feeling it. All right. Do I have, I know I have a couple of people drawing on an iPad today. How many of you? Maybe a handful, maybe 10, 20. And I'm deliberately drawing with a cheap uh, pencil. And what I mean by cheap is you buy this in boxes of, a dozen at the supermarket. It's very affordable. This is my point, is that you really don't need expensive materials in order to create great art or be happy about what you create. Um, Anything can do. Obviously, the sketchbook is a moleskin. It could have been a piece of photocopy paper, just like keeping things together. Um, but really, frankly, it's not about the supplies. Okay, by now, I'm sure you guys know this from drawing along with me. There's something also very modest about that I absolutely love. So, again, if you've just joined in the past few minutes, you probably have heard that we are continuing drawing faces with France into October, and we are going to be doing the same format as we were for September. We're going to draw Mondays, Wednesdays, and together like this live on Saturdays. And it will be a blast. It's going to be an insane month for me since I'll be between homes, but I was promised I would get Wi Fi in time. So hopefully things will go as smoothly as possible. And if you want to grab that class at Sketchy Shop, you can grab this class and another 2 classes, 20% off with Faces with France. There you go. Um, oh, interesting, Jenny. You are using carpenter pencils. That's very cool. And do you like the Stillman and Burn Zeta sketchbook? I wonder if you do. Okay. Alors, Lisanne, I'm going to take a moment to address your question because I have very strong opinions on the subject. Alors, Lisanne, si tu veux un iPad, à mon avis, il faut aller avec le Pro et, et, et vraiment aller dans les grandes tailles, quoi. Qu'est-ce que c'est 13 pouces, presque 12,9. Et c'est vraiment ce qu'il y a de mieux parce qu'il y a de la place, quoi. Il y a de la place, il y a de quoi faire. On peut diviser l'écran en deux parties et il y a toujours quand même suffisamment de place pour dessiner. Ça, pour moi, c'est idéal, quoi. Donc, je dirais iPad Pro. Le mien, il est de 2018, c'est même pas le dernier modèle. Euh, donc, j'ai le 2018, je crois que c'est 256 gigas. Et il est super, voilà. Voilà ce que j'ai à dire sur l'iPad. Et puis bien sûr l'Apple Pencil parce que bon, il y a guère que ça qui marche bien, quoi. Adding some eyelashes here. Yes. Okay, Jenny. So it means that this Stillman and Burn sketchbook is very versatile. Okay. And it is smooth. Smooth. Okay. I'm glad to hear that. I love Stillman and Burn. I believe, tell me if I'm wrong, but I believe they got bought by Clairefontaine, which is a French company. Okay, we're starting to darken things in some places, okay, but not everywhere because the idea, of course, is to try to get some sense of completion at the end. If I go too far into the details, it will never end. But here and there, feels good. Can't help cross-hatching. Yann, ça fait plaisir de te voir, ok. Oh, Lisanne, ça fait plaisir à entendre aussi, c'est bien. Yann, tu viens de revoir Ben-Hur. D'accord, Ben-Hur avec, comment il s'appelait? Charlton Heston, je crois, l'acteur américain. Je crois. Grosse bise, Yann, je suis contente que tu sois là, que tu sois passé nous voir. There's such a thing as restraint, you know. We're trying not to use too much so that we can actually finish. I'm glad that you guys can practice your French. Oh, it was Charlton Heston, right? That's what I thought. I'm glad. Ben, je vais continuer à parler en français si vous voulez, y a pas de problème. Pas de problème. I do it all week, ladies. The whole, teaching French, teaching pronunciation. It's been challenging doing it all online. It's absolutely insane and a little bit sterile, but because teaching a language, you need so much interaction. You need to hear the students, and oh, it's so bizarre. So you see how I'm kind of like revisiting the same place several times. hmm This is how I build a little bit of depth. This is going to be, I can promise you, sketchy. Because we're not going to be able to go into great, refined details. I love what's happening in the corner of this eye here. You see it? Those little wrinkles. Oh, I love that. I don't know if my students would agree about taking a French class. Well, I know. I think my students like French. I'll be honest with you. I think it's going pretty well. My 25th year of teaching public school French. Can you guys actually hear the pencil on the paper? Hmm. Because it seems particularly noisy on my end. I feel almost self-conscious about making such loud scratches. You hear that? Again, because it is a cheap pencil, it does have probably some, I don't know, some stuff in the lead. It's, I don't know, I can't imagine it's like great quality. And so it just scratches like crazy, you know? Hopefully I'm not going to smear too much. And again, doing this with a pencil which is not um, sharpened in any way, just exposed, and it works. It's the good stuff. So there's a spot of light here on Melly Rose's nose that I don't want to miss. Things are darkening a little bit, you see? Yeah, it is soothing. Oh, I'm glad. Ok, je suis contente que le crayon fasse des bruits à peu près calmants, ouais. Ok. Oh, la symphonie de la création, ça c'est bien dit. Bien dit, le refuge de toutes les émotions, Yann, well done. And yes, definitely the cross hatching is a slow build, right? It's a slow build, Jenny, of going light over light over light, and then eventually you end up with um, something darker and darker, and then you have more control over where you want to stop, getting too dark, and yeah, it's the good stuff. And don't think today that the kind of cross hatching I'm doing is very precise. It just kind of goes everywhere right now. I'm not giving much thought as to, what directions my lines are going or anything like that. I just want to lay down some, uh, you know, tones, I guess we would call them, right? On the paper. Yeah. Bye, Rick, if you've left. Okay, I cannot continue neglecting this eye. This is a perfect opportunity for us using pencil right now to go back and forth between a little bit of pressure and not so much pressure. And I'm going to drag my chair over now because my proportions are pretty safe, and now I feel good about just adding, you know, values. Teresa, I've spent hours on the portrait of RBG that has some amazing highlights, but I'm tentative with the darks. Okay. I think there's nothing wrong with just diving in, you know. As long as you do it somewhat gradually so that you have, as I've pointed out in those lessons, one light layer over another so that you see gradually where the dark is starting to get too dark. Yeah. Merci, Yann. I don't know if there's really a method to is there a method to what I'm doing? Maybe. Je sais pas si c'est une méthode ou juste des accidents, on va dire, heureux, sans grandes conséquences. I don't know if I have any Bruce fans here because I know New Jersey is represented. Definitely, Frank is here. I know some of you are from Jersey, and Bruce Springsteen has some new tracks coming out that are absolutely gorgeous. I've been listening to a lot of Bruce. If you get a chance, check them out. Yesterday was the 21st anniversary of me seeing Bruce Springsteen in concert for the first time in Philly. It was an amazing show. Oh my gosh. So you see how there's pressure here that changes, right? There's there's light, there's dark, you know. I go a little harder on the nose because the nose definitely has more tone, you know, than the rest of the skin on the face. The France method, yeah. Okay. You know, my book is called the non-artist guide. You know, to well, I'm not going to recite the whole title, but all this to say that um, because I am not a trained artist, whatever you find in my book is, you know, hopefully very affordable, attainable, I should say. Affordable is not really the word. Um, to anybody who does not have that kind of training and who might be a little intimidated by, you know, people who are academic and who kick butt, you know, it can get really intimidating. Well, I'm none of that. I just draw. I hope you guys are enjoying this as much as I am. Henry, can I relate to this? I keep tapping my drawing paper twice to erase. I love that. Do you sometimes like try to, you know, make the drawing a little bigger or smaller on paper? Oh, that's bad. I know, Henry. I'm right there with you. Et Yann, non, je n'estompe jamais avec mes doigts. J'aime garder les marques du crayon. Et si j'estompe, j'estompe avec le crayon lui-même. Like, comme ça, tu vois. Voilà. Comme ça. Mais j'aime pas trop les effets trop polis, où tout est bien estompé comme ça, avec des... je sais pas comment ça s'appelle, les tortillons. Hmm. C'est pas vraiment mon... C'est pas ma tasse de thé, on va dire. Ou comme on dit ici, c'est pas ma marque de whisky. Oh. Okay, where is this nose ring? I'm going to put it here. I hope you guys do not neglect that nose ring either. Okay, moving right along. Like the Muppet song. Footloose and fancy free. Are we doing okay, everybody? Oh, thank you, Catherine. That's so nice. I'm so glad. So glad you got my book. Cool. And again, if you just picked up, you know, the live in medias res, as we would say in Latin, please note that we are extending this adventure of, you know, drawing faces with France into October. So October 5th will be the first lesson. And the format will be very much the Drawing Faces with France format, which is, you know, we meet Monday and Wednesdays and then on Saturdays. And that really gets you into a nice creative rhythm, you know, which is the idea, the whole idea. Note that I'm not doing much with the hair. To me, hair does not scream portrait as much as, you know, the eyes, the expression. Ah, comment se procurer mon livre? C'est à Amazon. J'ai des amis en France qui l'ont dégoté sur Amazon aussi. Je sais pas comment ils ont fait. Faudrait que je leur demande. Parce qu'il est en anglais, le livre est en anglais, mais ils l'ont trouvé sur le site amazon.fr. Mais au Canada, ce serait... Enfin, je connais beaucoup de Canadiens, dont Chris qui est là, qui a trouvé mon livre en librairie au Canada, dans les provinces maritimes. Donc il existe, mais Amazon, à mon avis, c'est le meilleur endroit. Mais c'est dans ma bio, on peut le commander directement depuis ma bio. Graphie sur Instagram. Voilà. And the $100 question, Mesdemoiselles, Messieurs, is how far are we going to go with this, given the time constraints? Oh, tu l'as acheté, Yann. Oh, merci. Tu l'as trouvé sur Amazon. Oh, bah, c'est sympa de l'avoir acheté, merci. T'es plus sympa que certaines personnes dans ma famille qui me disent bon, alors, tu me donnes une copie de ton livre? Et j'ai envie de leur dire t'as pas envie de me soutenir dans ma carrière artistique et d'acheter mon livre plutôt? Aïe, aïe, aïe. En tout cas, merci beaucoup, Yann, de te l'être procuré. Merci. Ça fait vachement plaisir. Is everybody doing okay? Yeah? I hope so. I could draw just noses all day and I would be very happy with that. If someone told me, you know what, for the next 2 months we're just going to do noses, I'd be like, sign me up. I want to do noses. I love drawing noses. They have so much to teach us about volume, light, how things are, you know, whether you turn your head a tiny little bit, it's going to make a completely different shape, right? Right, so Chris, there you go. You bought Sketch at a local store here in New Brunswick. And oh yeah, there's the iBook version. That's true. I've never seen the electronic version, I don't think. Have I? Donc voilà, Yann, un peu pour répondre à ta question d'estompe, tu vois. Je reviens sur sur mes traits qui étaient un peu grossiers, on va dire. Et je reviens dessus, mais cette fois en les liant, on va dire. C'est pas vraiment le terme que je cherche, mais ouais, c'est un peu ça, quoi. Tu vois? Donc les traits sont là, ils sont séparés, ils sont pas très beaux. Et ensuite je reviens là, hop, avec une autre, on va dire une autre couche de crayon et ça les, ça les coagule, on va dire un peu, tu vois. C'est pas, ouais, pareil. Le vocabulaire là est pas génial, on va dire. Ouais, c'est ça. L'idée, c'est en effet de revenir et et donner un petit peu plus de cohésion, quoi, à tout ça. C'est un peu ce qui manque des fois quand c'est juste des gros traits un peu séparés. Pof, je reviens dessus et maintenant, voilà, toc. Et ça peut prendre facilement une bonne heure, quoi, pour tout le visage. Mais c'est ça qui est bien, c'est méditatif. Ça fait du bien à la tête, quoi, tout ça, en tout cas, je trouve. I know for a fact that some of you draw faster than me. So I'll be curious at the end of this when we go to Sketchy Art School to post. I'd be curious to find, you know, how much coverage you got, whereas I did not even, get to really build the mouth. That's how it goes. So what I was explaining in French a minute ago is I had those rough, sketchy, kind of separated lines, and I went back and I'm not a fan of using the word blending, but I did, by doing another layer of pencil over them, blended these lines together so that they would actually be closed. Look, I'm about to do it on the nose too. So these lines are great. I love the sketchiness of, the hatching that we can see here, how apparent it is. But then you come back with your pencil and you kind of close some gaps, and without really getting rid of that sketchiness that's below it, don't get me wrong, but you're kind of like cleaning it up a little bit, and it's the most soothing experience because you've already done your proportions, you're already set, you're good. Now you're just embellishing, really. And that's a stage of a drawing that I absolutely love. This stage here. And of course I would have to do the same on the other side, but the idea is to I don't like this line here. I need to. Okay, that's a lot better. So yeah, it's a cleanup process of sorts, That's why at the beginning of this drawing I said really don't pay too much mind about where you put your hatches. Your cross hatching doesn't matter because with a pencil you come back and kind of bring more cohesiveness to the whole thing with a second or a third or a fourth layer. It's just fab what you can do with such a cheap pencil, C'est ça se fusionne. Ça, c'est le bon terme. Merci pour le vocabulaire, là, Lisanne. C'est l'idée. Parce que c'est bien beau de faire des marques un peu grossières, mais faut aussi savoir quand même un peu, je sais pas quoi, rendre la peau plus réelle, quoi. Parce que bon, quand c'est que des marques comme ça peut enlever, je trouve, un peu du réalisme. Voilà, voilà, messieurs, dames. So same thing here, everybody. You see, I'm just laying a foundation of lines that are going to follow the shape of of the the cheek, like boom, like this. I'm so glad that you've learned a lot. Oh, Stina, don't worry about it. Maybe you're feeling a little chatty today. It's all good. I'm glad. Pendant ce temps, je parle en français de toute façon, donc. Anish, what I'm talking about is making these lines. Don't worry, I'm also actually saying everything in English too. Making these lines, like you know, blending together rather than just leaving them too far apart. That's the idea. And you guys know already from having followed a few lessons with me that my favorite part of the face to neglect is the forehead. Quand il n'y a pas trop d'expression dans le front, il n'y a vraiment pas de quoi s'attarder en fait sur le front. Ça sert à rien. Du moins quand on n'a pas le temps, hein, on va dire. Okay, so you see we're like slowly and without using the eraser to create the negative lines, at least not too much. I did a little bit here, but these highlights, I left them alone, and now they are the ones that indicate the whole volume of the face. Okay. Oh, les morphalous. Oh, super. Je vais voir ça sur ta chaîne. D'accord, Yann. Quand j'aurai une minute après la peinture aujourd'hui. Parce qu'aujourd'hui, je vais peindre dans ma nouvelle maison. J'ai beaucoup de peinture à faire. Beaucoup de nettoyage aussi. Enfin, beaucoup, quoi. Repeindre des placards, des étagères. Il me faut une nouvelle cuve à fuel, ça va coûter une fortune. Enfin bon, bref. C'est la joie, quoi. Dans la joie et la bonne humeur. Okay, everybody, how are we doing? We are getting close to the end. Oh my goodness. Okay. Stina, treat the iPad like a piece of paper. There's no better piece of advice that I can give. Keep it simple. If you start thinking in terms of bells and whistles and, oh, what can, let's unlock all the potential of the iPad, you're going to get so overwhelmed by it. This can be a pretty daunting instrument to have, in your hands when you start drawing. So for me, an iPad is just another support. And no, I am not one to know all the tricks. And that's also because I have no interest in that. I really want to continue treating it like a support. Okay. So it's 12:59 here on the East Coast. So Betty, if the forehead had a lot more expression, let's say, like an angry, wrinkles and stuff, I would definitely address that. But I think that here, just leaving it blank doesn't really affect, I want to say, the truth of her expression. I hope you guys see it this way as well. And I am going to sign off soon. I am deliberately going to post it as is, guys, as is in Sketchy Art School, and hope that you will too. I am, as I said, off to do some, home improvement stuff. And remember that October will also be, on top of being, of course, Inktober, it's also going to be a little bit of Penciltober and Procreatetober with me, because we're continuing drawing faces with France throughout October, the same format as we had in September, and I'm really looking forward to this. Yeah, Dan, the lion, I totally agree with you that an iPad can feel like paper if you put a sheet of protection on the screen. Ok. Lisanne, pour l'iPad, utilise un 6B, un crayon 6B qui est déjà dans Procreate. Tu verras, c'est fantastique. Voilà, mesdemoiselles, messieurs, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to sign off. I will see you next week. Next week, which will be October 3rd, I will most likely be in my new, my new crib, hopefully with functioning Wi-Fi. And that will be the last lesson of September Drawing Faces with France. Then Monday, October 5th, we are going to start the new class. So thank you, everybody, for being here today. And we'll see each other still next week for the last week of Drawing Faces with France. Don't hesitate to go to Sketchy Shop, grab 2 of my classes for 20% off with the code Faces with France. Okay, everybody, I have to sign off. I'm off to do some painting, and I'll see you soon. I'm so glad I saw so many familiar names today. Thank you, everybody. I'll see you next week. And those of you who are already in Drawing Faces with France September edition, this last week will be good. Ok, merci tout le monde. Je vous embrasse. Grosse bise. And I'll see you next week. Thank you so much, Sheila, for your best wishes. I appreciate it. All right. Bye, everybody. Besos, abrazos. Okay. Mwah. This is far from finished, but we have a face, right? Okay, everybody. Ciao. Au revoir. À bientôt. À la semaine prochaine, j'espère. Tchuss.